A developing story out of Aiken County tonight. The FBI is now part of a search for a missing 4-year-old girl. According to the sheriff's office in Aiken County, Javeayah Harris was last seen around 8:15 last night. On social media, the FBI says authorities are canvassing the girl's neighborhood, collecting security video and search.
The call: you are watching a mother call 911, crying, saying her 4-year-old is missing. You believe her. 200 officers believe her. The FBI believes her. Drones fill the sky over Aiken County, South Carolina. Helicopters sweep 5,000 acres of woods and farmland. Search dogs tear through underbrush in brutal July heat. A church becomes a command center. A whole community drops everything for one little girl named Javeayah Harris. But here's promise number 1. Somewhere in this search, a detail gets planted early that you need to remember. Javeayah never feared strangers. She'd walk up to anyone and say hello. Hold on to that. Here's promise number 2. Investigators will eventually reveal a fact that makes every single hour of this search meaningless. Not wrong, meaningless. For 4 days, this looks like a rescue mission. Volunteers search creek beds. Deputies knock on every door within a mile. The sheriff stands at a podium, visibly shaken, promising to bring this child home. Then, on July 4th, everything changes. The sheriff steps back to that same podium. His voice cracks. He says the words no parent should ever hear. Javeayah Harris is dead. Not missing. Not lost. Dead. And then comes the detail that turns this entire investigation inside out. Investigators believe she had already been gone for a month before that 911 call was ever made. A month. While her mother searched cameras and cried for reporters, her daughter had been dead for weeks. So if Javeayah was already gone a month before anyone called for help, what were investigators actually looking at when they searched her house? What the evidence shows here's promise number 1, delivered. Investigators say the coup, the timing, the whole story you heard on day 1 was already false weeks before it was told. That's the case in one sentence. Michaeli Herring, 22, called 911 around 8:45 p.m. on June 30th. Javeayah Harris, 23, wasn't even home. He told reporters he'd been out running errands, gone about 90 minutes. He came back to flashing lights and a scene already in motion. His first thought wasn't fear for Javeayah. It was that Herring, 9 months pregnant, had gone into labor while he was gone. Sadly, the night of the 911 call, it was already too late to save Javeayah, Sheriff Marty Sawyer told reporters. At this time, our investigation supports that she had been deceased for at least a month. Sit with that sentence. A month. That means every search grid, every drone flight, every K-9 unit combing the woods happened for a child who had not been missing for hours. She had been gone for weeks before anyone dialed 911. So what was actually happening in that house for that entire month? Who knew? And why did the call come exactly when it did? 3 days before Herring gave birth to a second child. Investigators haven't answered that publicly, but they moved fast once they had it. On July 4th, both parents were arrested. Javeayah Harris and Michaeli Herring were each charged with homicide by child abuse. Herring faces an additional charge: filing a false police report. Think about what that second charge actually means. It's not a charge for a mistake. It's a charge for a story someone built on purpose. 2 people who spent 4 days pleading for their daughter's safe return are now the 2 people charged with her death. So what does that actually mean for a case built on a missing month? The key question. Here's promise number 2, delivered. The public search itself was the meaningless part. Investigators say Javeayah was already gone before a single officer put on boots. That's what makes this case different from every other missing child story you've seen. So let's ask the real question. Why call 911 at all a month later? Here are 4 things investigators are almost certainly asking right now. Number 1, what actually happened to Javeayah and when inside that home? Number 2, why did the 911 call come just 3 days before Herring was due to give birth? Number 3, who else, inside that house or that family, knew something during that missing month? Number 4, Where is Java's body? Since as of the most recent update, investigators still have not recovered her. You need to understand something about how these searches work. 200 officers do not mobilize because a family lies quietly. They mobilize because a family reports urgency, fear, a story with details. Herring gave them a location, a time, an outfit, pink Minnie Mouse pajamas, Crocs, pink beads in her braids. Every one of those details sent real people into real danger, into 100-degree heat, searching for a child who was never coming home. Former neighbors from Union County, where the family used to live, started speaking up once this story broke. They described a different Java than the one authorities described publicly. One who didn't wander, one who held your hand, crossing a room. She would not cross the road. She won't walk by herself, one former neighbor said. Even when she walked to the refrigerator, she still wanted to hold your hand. If that's true, ask yourself something. Does that sound like a child who wandered off from a chicken coop? Drop a comment. What detail in this timeline bothers you the most? Now here's where this case turns from a timeline problem into something much harder to sit with. The parents' investigators believe the story wasn't confused. It was constructed. Read that again, because it changes everything you're about to hear. Javeayah Harris and Mitchell Herring are not strangers who happen to live near Java. They are her parents, the two people the entire search was built around trusting. Harris gave interviews during the search. He described his daughter as smart, respectful, someone who knew no stranger danger. His words exactly. He told reporters people had been snooping around the house recently. Herring stood in that same story, 9 months pregnant, telling deputies and dispatchers the same account. Java, playing by the coop. Java, gone in 45 minutes. Then, on July 4th, that story collapsed. Both parents in handcuffs. Both charged with homicide by child abuse. Herring facing an extra charge most people miss the significance of, filing a false police report. We know that this family is living a nightmare, and we are doing everything we can to bring Java home, Sheriff Sawyer said, before any of this was public. Legally, both parents are presumed innocent until a court says otherwise. That matters, and it's worth saying clearly. But investigators have already told the public plainly. They believe Java was dead a month before anyone searched for her, and the people who reported her missing already knew. If you were on that search team and later learned the truth, what would you want to say to these two parents? So here's what's left. Not a resolution, a little girl still missing, and a county still asking one question. What's still missing? Javeayah Harris was 4 years old. She loved Minnie Mouse. She loved chasing chickens. She walked up to strangers because nobody had taught her to be afraid of people. As of right now, she has still not been found. Investigators say they're searching an area of interest outside Aiken County entirely. Sheriff Sawyer won't say where. He's asked the public for one thing: privacy, so Java's extended family can grieve without cameras outside their door. Here's what stays with you after a case like this. 200 officers searched thousands of acres in dangerous heat for a rescue that had already been impossible for weeks. A church became a command center. Volunteers handed out water to searchers looking for a child who could never be found alive. And the two people leading the search from the front, crying on camera, pleading for her safe return, are the same two people now charged with her death. Maybe the danger was never a stranger at all. If this case affected you the way it affected everyone covering it, subscribe, because we follow these cases until there's an answer, not just a headline. What do you think really happened during that missing month? Tell us below. Java's story isn't finished. Neither is ours.